start into our slide deck here.
Yeah, so as the session name hints, we're going to be presenting you with some features and benefits of moving your unified communication system to the cloud, as well as some things to watch out for when you're trying to pick a solution. So we like to keep this pretty informal, so feel free to ask any questions that you might have during the presentation even, and at the end we will also be opening it up for questions and answers. The first thing we're going to talk about is completeness of vision. So there are a lot of vendors out there, so how do you choose the right one? Some vendors only write software, other vendors really only concentrate on hardware products. So mixing these for a solution can be okay, but it doesn't always provide the most seamless experience for the admin or the end user. It's possible that less features are provided when mixing vendors. If something goes wrong, there can be finger pointing, and that can slow the resolution to the issue. And there can also be additional complexity in the administration due to having potentially multiple interfaces that you have to log into or touch points. Some vendors create a complete ecosystem of hardware and software with a complete vision for their entire solution across the board. And when you have this, generally you're going to have more features, better support, and a better overall experience. Take Apple, for example, on the consumer side of things. You know, they create their products from the ground up to work better together, and that's on the hardware side as well as on the software side. Also, if you're having some sort of an issue with your Apple product, you know right where to go for support. So the same can be found in cloud collaboration systems. There are vendors out there that create an entire ecosystem of software products, such as the PBX backend, the administration interfaces, the meetings components, the clients and the soft phones, as well as hardware, such as the desk phones, the analog converters, the video conferencing units, and the session border controllers, and more. And because of this ecosystem approach, all of this is meant to work better together than a disjointed approach requiring multiple vendors. So a completeness of vision can provide a streamlined path of communication for your users. When a vendor creates their hardware and software to work together to provide a complete solution, your users can reach out to coworkers quickly via an instant message and then easily escalate that from an instant message to a phone call or a video call. And then, you know, they may need to share their desktop as well to collaborate on a document while they're on that call. Then they could even escalate that to a full-blown meeting with multiple participants if needed. And they can do all of this on any device, anywhere, while staying within one single application.
Excellent. So Joe spoke, collaboration includes a lot more than just traditional voice, and it includes messaging, meetings, a whole bunch of interaction that come together, and we're seeing that convergence in the system and solution to our customers. So quick show of hands, anyone completely in cloud? You have a full cloud system, still on-prem for part of it. Any cloud components, or is it completely on-prem?
Yeah, we have the WebEx.
WebEx?
The WebEx piece for the UC environment.
Okay. Excellent. So that's kind of where a lot of customers are. Voice has been on-prem and kind of last piece to move. It's a lifeline, it's critical. Putting it out on an internet-based cloud solution seems to be a little scary, so we see that kind of as the last component. But things like meetings, WebEx, as you mentioned, is one that we've seen people jump. To have that type of power on-premise would be very expensive. So it's attractive for things like WebEx and meetings to be hosted in the cloud. And we look at that, it's out of need. Why, might I ask, did you go with WebEx in the cloud versus an on-prem solution? Was it cost?
I think it was just at the time what fit the most for what we needed and what we wanted.
Excellent.
You know, having that synchronous, if you will, communication platform that's there, and as well as asynchronous too. So you can have the messaging piece, so you can leave things around, or you have your meetings and keep people connected. We also integrated the WebEx classroom kits during the COVID era, so that kind of all played nicely, you know, together there, because we had virtual kids attending remotely, and using the WebEx systems, and so it fit best for what we wanted to do. We had Jabber previously before that for internal staff communications, so
Excellent.
it was just the next step in the chain of moving forward with the path we were already on. So.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Either of you have cloud-based meetings, messaging, maybe use the instant messenger app? Teams, Microsoft Teams. Did that come as a selection, as a need, or just COVID hit? That's a lot of what we hear. It's COVID hit, we needed something. This was available.
Well, we had it before COVID hit.
Okay.
We weren't really using it that much. And then the need quickly arose, so we started using it.
Yeah. And so one of the advantages of cloud is that quick spin up. COVID hit us all at the same time, but all of a sudden we needed conferencing and meetings. People were working from home. So the cloud has that advantage. To go around and put on-premise systems would be very costly to start with to get those kind of features. So as we look at this, some people, I'm not comfortable with the cloud, but in reality, we almost leverage the cloud every day for things like meetings or messaging. Some of us out of, I have this need, or just my user started using it, so we made it part of our stack. What we're seeing now is a reevaluation after COVID is what's right for us. We picked up this app for this, we picked up this, and kind of as Joe spoke to, the ecosystem of things, how they start to fit together. How's that communication become seamless? Can I go from a phone call, instant messaging, and meeting and keep them all together? And so as you look at picking your pieces, that journey into the cloud, you're going to look at things like which vendors offer what features. I'm obviously biased to Cisco, and I like all the stuff like the background canceling, the virtual backgrounds and stuff. But for some people, they just need to meet and have that simple meeting. And that's worked well with some of the free products at COVID. But as we move and progress and those become more and more, we have to be more aware of what they're doing in our environments. And so we're going to touch on some of that stuff today, from just the interoperability, how things work together, the security of it all, what's going on with your data as it transitions. We're going to, again, touch it at a high level. Happy to go into detail of stuff. So as we look at the cloud, those features like meetings were kind of the big jump, and now we're looking at, is our calling ready to go to the cloud? What advantages do I have? And we're going to get into, I don't want to steal from Joe's thunder, but there's some advantages with PSTN even, as that's been standard dial tone for a long time. There's cool stuff coming to that as we go to the cloud. So when we look at our cloud solution in whole, there's the technology, which vendor you're going to select, then there's the ongoing stuff like licensing and interoperability of the products, how well they work together. But you all start with what features? The big three, message, meeting, calling are important, but what sub-features come of that? WebEx, as you mentioned, had a classroom plug-in for you. What did that bring to your students?
Well, we demoed that piece a little bit and played around with it, but in the end, we didn't do the full classroom integration when it came to like tying it to our SIS or any of that type of piece. But
okay.
Just for the bare bones of having so one of the biggest things for WebEx specifically that was huge during the COVID era was the ability to record the ongoing meetings. And since we did have the kids, you have the instructor tracking camera, so it's following the teacher, it's keeping them within frame.
Yeah.
It's recording the whole time. You have kids showing on a monitor, a TV on the wall. Kids that are coming in virtually, they can see the classroom can see them. And so it kind of created, and that's when we kind of started doing this hybrid where we didn't require kids to come back, but they could if they wanted to. So it allowed us to kind of run in this hybrid environment for parents and families that weren't comfortable with putting their students back on-prem right away.
Yeah.
And got us to some level of normalcy in the district where it was different, but it felt like school again. It felt more like what it should be, and less of everybody is just doing WebEx calls, and some teachers can't really handle that. So for them to be back in their element, in their room where they're supposed to be, even though it's virtual at that point, they feel like teachers again.
Yeah.
And that was a big piece for us.